continued with the present sessions. So we are in a fifth session now. So as of now, you are coming to a few concepts which used to happen in a real time, and as well as if you just go ahead with the concepts, whatever the textbook concepts what we are having. Like that, if you consider how to make a circuit, or else what are the components you need to make and how they should be, what are the parameters required. So there are so many kinds we need to consider, and almost what embedded system we used to make out at present, what boards or else what the implementations that they are happening. So it has to be enhanced further like that. So am going to take a session 5 that used to include with I think madam, this PPT is visible for you. Is this PPT is visible for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in this session, if you consider, so we are going to make ahead with what are the contents that you are having it here. First one is based on what? Based on combination circuits. So how the combination circuits they used to make out, then what are the requirements, how they used to build, and building blocks involved with those things we'll study. Then later, after whatever you are just making with building blocks, so those with those building blocks which are involved with the flip flops or as registers, if you consider that you are going to study, then next counters. So again, what are the requirements that used to make out with like building blocks if you consider. So almost that used to come out with the flip flops and registers, counters like that, and microcontroller processors, and there are so many concepts that are involved with like RISC and CISC operations like that. We are going to study a few more things there. So coming to the points, design a combination circuits for scenario if we consider. So what happens here in this design combination circuit for a scenario? As we know, we are having IC chips. So based on what packaging or else density we used to make. So here what happens actually, there are a small scale integration as we used to call it as a SSI. Then they used to make up to around 12 gates. And if you consider a medium scale integration, they used to make out around 22 to 99 types of gates. Then a larger scale integration, if you consider, they used to make out around 100 to 9,099 gates like that. Then few more like concepts like larger scale, then a very large scale integrated circuit, like if you consider, they will be around 10,000 to around 99,999 gates like that, around 1 lakh. Then ultra large scale integration if you consider, so they will be having around greater than 1 lakh gates. So how they used to make out, or else types of chips if you consider, or else based on package density if you consider. So we used to consider like as I told, a small scale, a medium, large scale, then a very large scale integration, then finally with the ultra large scale integration like that, and then they used to make out the design methods. Then, what are the main objectives? Objectives, as I told yesterday, so reducing cost. So there might be what? There might be reducing number of gates for whatever the SSI circuit that you are making to just bring out with the concept. And reduce IC packages. Reduce IC packages for what? Reduce IC packages for complex circuits. So these are the objective if you consider cost wise. Then increasing the speed. This is again one more major objective. Then design the simplicity or else use the blocks where it is possible, like so where all we need or else required. So we need to go ahead with only those kinds of blocks like that. If you just make out with whatever the blocks you are making, then I think that will be a fine. Next, if you just proceed with applications of this CLC, So there is nothing but a combination logic circuit or as a combination circuit like that. They used to involve with what arithmetic and logical functions as you are seeing here. Then data transmission, a code a converter like that. So if as we know arithmetic and logical functions, if we consider, we used to have on adders, subtractors, compilers, then PLDs, then data transmissions. If you consider, we used to have what we used to have multipliers, demultiplexers, then encoders, then decoders like that. Then code converter wise, if you consider binary, BCD, then 7 segment like that. So like that, you used to have a combination logic circuit. One by one, if you make out, okay, what is a combination circuit? If I just tell, so in this type of at present, if you consider combination logic circuit, in this type of a logic circuit, output depends only on the current input. If you consider concept wise, so what happens here? Combination logical circuit or else circuits without a memory, we can tell. So in this type of logic circuit, output depends only on what? Only on current input. So sequential logic circuits next, if you want to make out apart from combination circuit, one more concept what we are having sequential logic circuit. There circuits with memory we used to make it with in this type of logic circuit. The output depends on what? Output depends on current input and previous inputs like that. So these circuits, what these circuits apply storage elements and logic gates. So they used to make out with what sequential. But remember, combination logic circuit without memory, the circuits with. So they're nothing but what this type logic circuit output depends only on the current inputs like that. Then few concepts if we consider with the combination logic circuit, we are having what a combination circuit consists of input variables, then logic gates and output variables like that. And for n input variables, if you consider like two inputs, if you consider A, B, like that, if we consider, so there will be how many possible combinations of binary inputs? So they almost 2 to the power n, like 2 to the power n in the sense. If I consider two input variables, 2 to the power 2, then almost 4. Or else if I consider input variables 3, so it will be how much? 2 to the power 3. So 2 to the power 3 possible combinations of binary input values you will be having. Then for each possible input combination, there is a one and only one possible output combination. Whatever the combination circuit that used to describe by what Boolean functions. Boolean functions for each they used to make out. No? That we'll study with one example later. So each output function expressed in terms of what? In terms of an input variable here. So if we see this diagram at present, what you are displaying, what that is displayed here in this presentation. So a design combination of a logic circuit, they used to make out what? They used to make out following whatever the procedures that involved. Initially, we need what? A verbal description. Okay, the problem has to be what stated. So what type of input variables and output variables that we just made public here. Then specify the number of inputs and outputs required for whatever the outputs required for. Then the input and output variables are what? Assigned a letter symbol. Then a construct the truth table. That is nothing but a later stage after making the input output variables assigning towards the letter symbol. Then whatever the truth table that used to define relationship with the input output, with the help of that, a simplified Boolean function we used to make out for each output that whatever you are going to obtain with the help of what? With the help of K-map or as a tabulation method if you consider, or as a Boolean algebra rules if you consider, how they just mentioned it, and the logic diagram we need to draw. So for that, we are having one practical design if you consider. So a practical design method would have what would have to consider such constraints like minimum number of gates. So the design, whatever we came across at present, what concepts you are making with, there is nothing but whatever you are making, also design you are making, they used to have minimum number of gates and minimum number of input towards gate. Then minimum number of interconnectivities that used to happen. So a few parameters we need to consider. Minimum propagation time of a signal through the circuit. So almost if you consider these kinds of parameters, so we'll go with one simple design. At present, what you are seeing it here, something but simplify the two input OR gate if you consider, or gate truth table by using K-map. So how they used to make out initially what, as we have seen, we need to what the whatever the verbal communication was the problem statement we used to call it as. So make it with problem is stated now. So number of inputs required for this, how much? X and Y. So number of inputs required for this whatever you are making with the OR gate. No? So there are nothing but X and Y we need. Then number of required output is what? The number of required output is at present we need 1. So construction, according to construction truth table, input is 2, or else whatever inputs we are giving. So the possibilities, if you consider with the constructing whatever the truth table, if you just make out with F, so 2 to the power 2, so there will be 4 possibilities for that. And we need to what? We need to using K-map or some other simplified circuit. We need to make out what? We need to simplify this circuit. So using K-map or Boolean like that, there are so many methods now. So we need, by using these kinds of methods, we need to simplify. At present, what you are seeing, that is a K-map simplification. So at present, if you consider two input OR gate equation with how many combinations of 4 possibilities, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1 like that. So the whatever F, that is output required to make out 0, 1, 1, 1, whatever the combination that you are getting it here. Then finally, you need to construct X, Y, whatever the K-map they just constructed with. Then F used to get it as what? X bar Y plus X Y bar plus X Y, like that. You are just making out with. At present, if you consider, then F, if we consider X plus Y, so that is a simplifying design concept actually. So how they used to design. So building blocks majorly, if you consider, so hardware consists of what? Hardware consists of a number of building blocks in a circuit. Broad or as application specific wise, if you consider on SoC, that is nothing but a system on chip, along with what? Along with the processor, and if you consider hardware, they used what? They used to have following at present, how we have stated here, following building blocks and devices in the system. So generally, if you consider power source, that is nothing but various units in an embedded system. They used to operate in one of the ranges, like that might be 3.3 if you consider about GPS models and all, 5-volt model operating voltage, then 12 volts. So they are the requirements to make out, also to run that whatever embedded system that used to make out with. So what happens here? The power source that used to make out to operate that embedded system. Then similarly, clock oscillator, then clocking unit wise if you consider. So what happens here in this clock? The clock controls the time for executing an instruction, as we know, and the frequency, it depends on what? Depends on the processor circuit execution rate. So this one is what clock oscillator or clock units that used to make out with the embedded system. Then next one, system timer. System timer wise, if we consider the timer circuit is what is suitable. That we need to what that used to be suitably configured and functions as a system. Whatever used to make out with, and the system system clock ticks we used to call it as. The system clock ticks and generating whatever the system interrupts what they are having. They used to make out periodically. So during that case, we just make out with the system timer and a system clock. If we consider, we are having system clock there. System clock interrupt. We are having system clock interrupt that used to enable execution of a system supervisory function in operating system if you consider at a periodic interval. Similarly, system clock ticks can be 60 times in a second actually. So like that used to happen in this system timer. Then next real-time clock, as nothing but RTC we used to call it as. So what happens in this RTC? A real-time clock is required in a system. So the clock drives the timers for what? Various timing or counting needs in the system. So the clock also updates the time and date in the system, and the microcontroller provides a timer circuit for counting and tuning devices. So that used to happen in this building blocks. Then next, if I just proceed with, we are having a few more concepts related with the reset circuitry. Reset circuitry. Reset a circuit or as a power up reset and a watchdog timer reset like that. So they are nothing but what, if you consider the second thing like reset circuit, also power up reset and watch timer. So a circuit board for a reset enables a start for a system for about beginning using a switch or a signal to just make out initially. And the reset can be what, can be performed by what, using an instruction to what, to the processor. And a power up reset is nothing but what, circuit enables restarting of a system for what, beginners whenever power is switched on in the system. So like that, if it used to happen, so during that case, you just make out that use. And watchdog timer, as we know, watchdog timer is what, reset enables the restart of a system when it is stuck up in a certain set of instructions for what, for a period more than what preset time, what preset interval time what you have given, like that. During that case, watchdog timer will help you. And reset based on a reset switch or as a reset instruction or as a power up or as a power up reset, or else even if you just consider with the watchdog reset can form what can be or else they can be from the same starting instruction, or else even you can make out if you want to make out from a different starting instructions, like that, by considering this. And here one few more things like various forms of memories which are used in systems. They are nothing but what, there might be an internal RAM or as internal ROM, PROM, EEPROM, like that. Then external RAM for temporary data, and stack might be considered even. Then internal EEPROM or as flash can be used. Then external RAM from embedded soft or else whatever they used to make out with almost all other microcontrollers and gate systems if you consider. So that can be made out. Then ROM memory or also buffers and the ports can be used. So these are the various forms of memories that used to make out with. Then next, if you consider, that is nothing but flip flops. What do you mean by flip flop? As we know, flip flop is an electronic circuit with two stable states that can be used to store binary data. Then a stored data can be what, can be changed by applying varying or whatever the inputs that used to happen. And flip-flops and latches are what are fundamental building blocks of digital electronic systems. If you just use it for computers, communications, and many other systems. So both are used as what, used as a data storage elements, and it is the basic storage or else element in the sequential logic. And whatever, let's if you classify latches or else sorry, if you just classify whatever flip flops you are having it, so we just will come one by one, we'll make it with. So first one, we'll just go ahead with the SR flip flop. So SR flip flop. So as we know, SR flip flop. For example, let us just have a look here. SR latch and SR flip flop. So in this circuit, when you set R as a active, or as the output is Q would be higher and Q dash will be lower. So this is what irrespective of anything else. So this is an active low circuit. So active here means what? Here low actually. So but for an active high circuit would mean what? And actually we need to what? We need to give certain specifications. So in this, considering this diagram, the output is changed. That is what, that is data is changed. If you want, if you make few changes only when whatever the clock signal that is active. Otherwise, what, even if SR is active, the data will not change. So for that, if you just make out with whatever the majority of the things what you are having it here. So there are what, there are majorly four types of flip flops, which is what the most common, as we know, SR flip flop. With the help of that, what we are seeing it here, 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1 combination at present what you are seeing. So this simple flip flop circuit has what, set inputs S and reset input R, like that. So when you set S and active output Q would be what, Q would be high and Q dash will be lower. So once the outputs are established, the wiring of the circuit is maintained until what, S or R if you go towards higher, and power is what, power is tuned towards off. So that's what they just shown it here. If you see this truth table, it will be easy to understand. So so due to what? Due to undefined state in SR flip flop, another flip flop is required in electronic. So that we just make it with. So to alternative make out with that kind of things, we'll be just moving with a JK. What happens in JK flip flop is an improvement of whatever SR flip flop you are considered, where S and R if you consider that will be equals to 1 is not a problem. So what happens here? The input condition of J and K, if you consider, gives an output inverting the output state. So, however, the outputs are what? The outputs are same when one tests the circuit practically. So, in a simple words, what we can tell, JK data inputs are different than what the output Q takes, whatever the values like J at a next clock edge. Or as if J and K both are low, then no change occurs. And if JK both are high at a clock edge, then what happens? The output will toggle from one state to others like that. Then JK flip flop can function as a set or as a reset flip flops like that. So those are the few conditions. If you consider 0 0, if you consider that might be a Q might be about Q 0, then Q dash 0, then J 0 K1 Q and Q dash if you consider, so 0 0. Again if you consider 1 0, if you consider, so 1 0, again Q 0, then 1. Then next if you consider 1 1 JK 1 J1 K0 if you consider, again it will be in 0 and Q dash will be 1 state. Both are 1, so what happens? Q will be 0 and Q dash will be 1 like that. Then 0 1, if J is 0, K is 1, during that kind what happens? There are so many states which are involved with whenever that used to make out, or else when output will toggle. So during that time, so 0 0 condition, Q will be 1 during that time, Q dash will be 1. Then 0 1 conditions if we consider, during that also we may make out to 1. Then Q dash is 0 0 1 0. Then 1 1 like that. So we can make out whatever the output that is there to make with respect to Q dash. That is nothing but with respect to JK. So the next one, if you consider, there's nothing but D flip flop. As we know, D flip flop is a better alternative that is very popular with the digital electronics. So they are what they are commonly used for counters and shift registers and input synchronization like that. And present, if you consider in this case, output can be what only changed at a clock edge. And if the input changes at other times, so the output will be what? The output will be unaffected during this case if we consider. So what happens whenever clock gets down, 0, D0, Q0 if we consider, Q dash will be 1. So clock 1, D0, Q0, Q dash will be 1. Similarly, clock when the clock is high, D is 1, Q is 1. So alternative to that, Q dash will be 0. So the change of state of output is what is dependent on the rising edge of a clock. So the clock output is what same as input can only change at the rising edge of the clock like that. We are having a few graph descriptions here if you consider. Then next if you consider T flip flop. So T flip flop is like what? Again, it is like a JK flip flop, and they are basically a single input version of JK flip flop. And this modified form of JK flip flop is obtained by what? Connecting both input J, K, and it has what? It has only one input along with the clock input. So these are few basics actually. Then finally with the or else if you just want to make out the flip flop how they used to make out, like if you consider a few conditions where the ability to implement its state like toggle case, or hence the name we used to call it as a toggle, no? So like 0 0, again 0 if you make out 0, then initially when that used to make out, or else it has to alter as we know. So both inputs when J and K they used to make out. So it has only one input, and along with what? Along with clock. When the both are high, so during that case they used to make out one, that will be about that 0 and 1 will be 1 1 like that, and respective to that almost the variation that used to happen in circuit. Applications of flip flops, if we consider, so there are various types of flip flops between being used in digital electronic circuits, and the applications of flip flops at present, whatever they used to make out with, as we know, counters, frequency dividers, and shift registers, storage registers, like that we can just divide it. And few concepts if I consider, like a shift registers, I'm not going in that. So again, basics will be considered by one more resource person tomorrow morning. So they used to describe almost all these things. So sequential, shift registers if we consider. So one, as we know, as I told, applications of flip flops, we need to consider counters, then frequency dividers, then shift registers, then storage registers, like that. So first one, if I consider at present what we are making with the shift registers. So what is the shift registers? There is nothing but a sequential device that loads the data present on its input, and then moves or shifts it towards output once every clock time. At present, if you consider here, and hence the name because of that we call this as a shift register. And shift register basically consists of several single bit, like a D type data latches, so one for what each data bit, so either logic 0 or 1, like that. And similarly, if you consider data bits may be what we fetching out of the shift registers serially, and that is one after the other. So from either left to right, like that. So that used to happen, and the most common being 8-bit wide constructed. Whatever they used to make out with the 8 individual data latches we are going with. Then shift register wise, if we just make out, we are having what they used for a storage or for a movement of data, and therefore commonly used inside, if we consider calculators or say computers, to store data such as two binary numbers before they are called together, or to convert data from either serial to parallel, or parallel to serial format, like that. So the individual data latches that makes up a single shift register, that's almost all driven by what? Driven by common clock what you are having. Then signal, making them synchronous devices if you consider the shift registers. And shift register ICs, if you consider, are generally provided with a clear or with a reset connection, so that can be what a set or as a reset as whatever the requirements that used to be there. And generally shift registers operate, for, like at present, if you consider serial in to parallel out. There is a thing but what the register is loaded with the serial data, one bit at a time, with the stored data being available at the output in parallel format, like that if you consider. So similarly, if you consider the next one, there is nothing but a serial into serial out, like that. So the data is shifted serially in and out of the register, and one bit if you consider here at a time is what is either left or a right direction under clock control. If you consider this second one, that's nothing but what? That is a CISO. Then similarly, parallel serial out, if you consider parallel in serial out, if you consider. So what happens here? A parallel data is loaded in register and simultaneously and is shifted out of register serially, one bit at a time under clock control, if that used to happen. Then the last one, if you consider, is nothing but what? Parallel into parallel out. Parallel into parallel out, what happens? Parallel data is loaded simultaneously in the register and transferred together in respect of outputs by same clock pulse. So So the effects of data movement, so from left to right through a shift register can be presented graphically at present if you consider serial data, then a serial data output, input, parallel data output, parallel data input, then MSB, which is a LSB like significant bits also they just mentioned, then how they used to move. So also the direction movement of data throughout the shift registers can be either towards the left, that's nothing but left shifting, or also to right shifting, like that. It may happen. Then left in but right out, rotation wise if you consider, or both. Like left right if you consider shifting within the same register, thereby making what? Thereby making it bidirectional. So what that used to make out here, if you consider next one, few more things if I just want to explain regarding counters. So okay, so counters, as we know, as the name suggests, are a hardware mechanism for what? Hardware mechanism for counting. Here, what happens? If any event, or else, if you consider at the heart of a counter is what? A special purpose register that stores current values of a counter. At any time, if you consider any time that a certain event occurs, the value of this counter is incremented, or else that is to be added. So the type of event, what happens that causes the increment in typical configuration through whatever the other special purpose register what they used to make out, because the counter values what they used to store in a special purpose register, and this implies that what? This implies that value can also be read from or written or by executing code like that. So we are having different counters will store different sizes. So typical size for 8-bit microcontrollers such as uh, 80 mega X line, or is 80 mega 328 line series if you consider 8-bit, and next if you consider the extended 16 bits. Because of this finite size, the counter can only count to a maximum value 255 for an 8-bit counter if you consider, and 16-bit if you consider, there will be 65,535 bit counter like that. So once the counter reaches this maximum value, the new event should occur. So or else the counter resets back to zero if the case is, and from here the counter continues to increment with each event. Again, it will initially make out with. So what happens? Counters are useful in many different contexts. For example, we may be interested in what? Interested in how far a wheel has it turned. If I just consider one example, whatever they are showing it here, how far a wheel has turned in some given period of time. An encoder is a circular device that attaches to the axle, whatever you are having, whatever the wheel that axle of the wheel, and has what? And has altering opaque and transparent wedges at a regular intervals. So imaging whatever the partition or else a transparent circle that used to make out. So we can just consider n equals to 2 to the power k like that wedges, and filling every other one next to that. What we are seeing it here. So a counter is useful in this context because what it can, for example, if you consider count the number of times that the detector signal transitions from high to low. Or in other words, the event source of counter is a detector like that. And hence what happens, the counter value can give us estimation for how far that wheel has turned. So similar, one more thing, an LED is placed on one side of a circle and a digital detector on the other side. So that can make somewhat again that can simplify now. So if a wheel is turning now at a constant velocity, then what happens? Then the detector will see the LED exactly, and half of the time while a transparent wedge sits between the LED and a detector. So, however, one an opaque wedge moves between them, so the detector will no longer see LED. because what LED is only visible half of the time. So easy to say that like the detector produces a single with the 50% duty cycle. Then furthermore, the speed of will increases. So the frequency of a signal will also increase. So what happens there? Duty cycle will remain same. So whatever you are seeing it here with this diagram. Then next, if you just go ahead with the core of embedded system, if you consider the core of embedded system, they used to consider with the general purpose and domain specific purpose. General purpose, as we know, microprocessors, they play very important role. Microcontrollers, then a DSP, like that, DSP signal, DSP digital signal processors, then programmable logic device, then application specific integrated circuit, nothing but ASICs we need to call it as. Then commercial or for shelf components, cards, like that we used to call it as. So first, coming towards general purpose or domain specific processors, if you consider, as we know, 80% of embedded systems are processor or it's a controller based. And at present, what you are seeing, the processor maybe what the processor or a controller or a digital signal processor, if you consider, depending on domain and applications that you used to make out with. So as we know, first if I tell like a microprocessor, like a silicon chip representing what? Representing central processing unit, which is capable of performing arithmetic as well as what? As well as the logical operations according to what? According to predefined set of instructions. So which is what? Which is specific to manufacturer. Getting my point. So like that, if you just consider domain and application wise, and similarly, if I just make out with the microprocessor, so in general, CPU, whatever the central processing unit, that used to contain ALU, again, arithmetic and logic unit, control unit, and working registers, like that. And microprocessor wise, if you consider, is a dependent unit, and it requires a combination of other hardware like a memory, if you consider, or as a timer unit, if you consider, then controller wise, if you consider. So that is not like present what we used to make out only with the microcontroller. Getting my point? So the interrupt controller as a memory we need to have, or as the combination of other hardware apart from what? So what hardware they are having it? So we need what? We need memory, timer, interrupt control for proper functioning. So if we just make out with Intel, what they just made out with, Intel claims credit for developing first microprocessor unit, that is nothing but Intel 4004, a 4-bit microprocessor which has released in the year 1971. Then developers for microprocessor wise, if you consider Intel 4004 in the year November 1971, and Intel 4040, then 8008, again Intel 1972. Then 8-bit if you come across, then again Intel 8080, April 1974. Then Motorola 6800. Then Intel, if you consider, again 885, if that whatever the most known is, that is nothing that they just made up with all developed in the 1976. Then Zilog Z0, we used to call it as, that they just implemented in the year July 1976. So that's what how they just made out with. Then next to this, if I just go ahead with the microcontroller, present what you are seeing it in my hand now. So this is what a microcontroller. So it used almost a specific application. So used to have what used to have almost connections here. So a highly integrated silicon chip containing CPU, scratch pad RAM, if you consider, as special and general purpose registers, if you consider, then on chip ROM, if you consider, flash memory, if you consider, for program storage, timers, and interrupt control units, and dedicated I/O ports, if you consider. There are almost I/O port 1, 2, like that. So P0, P0, P1, P2, P0, P1, P2, like that. You are having what? You are having on-chip ROM and flash memory for program storage, and timer, interrupt control towards unit, and dedicated I/O ports, like that. Then microcontrollers can be what considered as about a superset of a microprocessor. And a microcontroller can be what can be general purpose, like as we know, Intel 8051, designed for generic whatever the applications and domains, or else application specific, like if you consider automotive ADR from Atmel Corporation. Then similarly, just we can make out. Then since the microcontroller contains all necessary functional blocks for independent working, they found a greater place in what in embedded domain in a place of microprocessor. Then microcontrollers are, if you consider these kinds of microcontrollers, or else Arduino, if you consider Arduino family, if you consider Arduino Nano, Uno, Decimelia, then there are so many, whatever they used to make out with Arduino Mega. So they are what the microcontrollers are cheap, cost effective, and are readily available in the market. Then Texas Instrument, if you consider TMS 100, sorry, TMS 1000 is considered as the world's first microcontroller. So there are few families into the microcontrollers, so we have placed here. Then next to this, what happens if whatever the general purpose and the domain specific processors, if I consider what are the major difference between processor and controller, so like that, if it is differentiate, microprocessor, a silicon chip representing what representing a central processing unit, which is capable of performing again, as we know, arithmetic as well as logical operations according to predefined set of whatever the instructions we are having it there. Controller wise, if you come, these kinds of controllers are highly integrated a chip that contains what contains a CPU, a scratch pad RAM, and special or general purpose registers arrays on this chip, or whatever the ROM, flash memory for program storage. Even program storage has to be done, timers, interrupt control units we are having, along with what dedicated I/O ports. At present, what I/O ports you are seeing it here, these four. Then, microprocessor wise, if you consider, it is what it is a dependent unit. It requires what it requires combination of chips, like what we need to have timers, then program and data memory chips where you need to interface, then interrupt controls, etc. Whatever you are planning it for application based. But here, if we come across with the controller, it is a self-contained unit of, and is what, and it does not require external interrupt controller, timer like UART, etc. for functioning. And processor wise, if I just come across again, the third one, most of the time general purpose in design and operation, mostly application oriented. Okay, specific applications you just make out because whatever applications we have seen, there's so many tremendous applications. No? Even if you consider one car, if you consider a house, so like that, mostly application oriented and domain specific. Then next, coming towards processor, does contain a built-in I/O. Then the I/O code functionality needs to be what needs to be implemented with the help of what with the help of external programmable peripheral interface like 8255 like that. But here, what happens in controller? Most of the processor contain multiple built-in I/O ports, and which can be operated in a single 8, 16, also 32-bit port, or as individual port pins like that we can make out. Then two more, if I just I'm having here, if I consider a targeted price processor wise, if you consider targeted for a high-end market where performance is very important, actually microprocessor wise, if you consider. Otherwise, if I just make out with a microcontroller, target for embedded market actually where performance is not so critical. So at present this demarcation is what is invalid actually, because the targeting, if you want to make out for applications, for particular applications, almost they can reach, or else the controllers can be used somewhere else, but that will be not the case if you consider for targeted for high-end market, as we are having it in processor. And limited power saving option compared to controllers, includes lots of power saving features if you just make out with a controller. So general purpose, if I consider GPP, is what a processor designed for general computation tasks. Then GPPs are what are produced in a large volume and targeting the general market actually, due to what high volume production we need, because they are nothing but a general purpose actually. and per unit cost for a chip is what is low compared to what ASIC or else if you consider with other specific ICs like that. And a typical general purpose processor contains what arithmetic logic units and control units in that. So this is what with respect to general purpose processor. Then next, if we just come out with a DSP, digital signal processors. Here what happens is nothing but a powerful special purpose again 8, 16, 32-bit microprocessor designed specifically to meet competition demand and power constraints of today's embedded whatever audio, video and communication applications if you consider. So there are so many things we need to make out. And digital signal processors are what are 2 to 3 times faster than a general purpose microprocessor. In a signal processing applications if you consider, and DSPs implement algorithm in if you consider hardware which speeds up the execution, whereas general purpose processors implement the algorithm in firmware actually, and the speed of execution depends primarily on clock for the processor what you are doing. Then DSPs, if you consider, can be viewed as a microchip designed for performing high-speed communication operations for addition, if you consider subtraction, multiplication, the division, like that. There are so many things we can just can be viewed as a microchip designed for performing high-speed computation operations. And here, what happened? A typical digital signal processor incorporates few key units. They are nothing but a program memory, data memory, computational engine, I/O units like that, and audio video signal processing, telecommunication, and multimedia applications are what are typical examples where DSPs employ. Then next, if you consider, so there might be architecture, there might be architecture changes like a CISC and a RISC variations, or CISC and RISC processor wise if you consider. So what there's the types of processor as a controllers if you consider. So here we are having a few differentiations what we made in this table. So RISC wise if you consider, first one is what? First one is a less number of instructions, reduced instruction set. There is nothing but RISC, lesser number of instructions. Then CISC wise if you consider greater number of instructions. Then RISC if you consider instruction pipelining and increased execution speed. Then CISC wise if you consider generally no instruction pipelining feature. Then RISC wise if you consider orthogonal instruction set allows each instructions to operate on any register and use any addressing modes if you consider. Then similarly, other way if you differentiate with respect to CISC, where CISC is having what non-orthogonal instruction set. What happens in non-orthogonal? Again, all instructions are not allowed to operate on any register and use any addressing mode there. Like that used to happen in CISC. Then next, if you consider operations are what performed on registers only towards RISC wise if you come across the memory operations, whatever that used to be loaded, stored, and CISC if you come operations are performed on registers or memory depending on whatever the instructions you're having. Then RISC wise if you consider large number of registers available and a limited number of general purpose registers if you come across. Then programmer needs to write more code to execute tasks since instructions are simple ones. RISC-wise, reduced. No? And CISC, if you consider again, program can achieve the desired functionality with a single instruction, which in turn what happens? Which in turn provides the effect of using more simpler single instructions in what RISC they have what they are. Then RISC wise if you consider a single fixed length instruction, then CISC wise if you consider a variable length instructions will be having it. Then RISC wise less silicon usage and pin count. CISC wise if you consider more silicon usage since more additional decoders, logic, whatever that used to require to implement a complex instruction. Then RISC with what? Again, one more point, RISC with the hardware architecture, and can be if you consider with RISC There is nothing but what have also von Neumann architecture based like that. Like that, if we just make out, then what do you mean by again Harvard also von Neumann concepts? We need to know. The term again refers to processor architecture design. At present, what they used to make out with one Harvard also one Neumann processor control architecture. So they used to what they used to refer the processor architecture design and microcontroller as a controller based on first one if you consider as one Neumann concept architecture if you just make out with. She is a single common bus for fetching both instructions and data. And program instructions and data are what are stored in a common main memory. If you consider microprocessor controllers based on one Neumann architecture. And if I just go ahead with the hardware architecture, microprocessor controls based whatever that you used to have it in hardware architecture will have a separate data bus and instruction bus. So this allows what this allows a bus transfer and program fetching towards other simultaneously towards on both the buses what we are just making out here. That is nothing but a one Neumann concept or the hardware architecture concept. If you just go ahead with a hardware architecture, the data memory can be read and written while the program whatever or else whatever the program memory that you are having it here in the hardware architecture is being accessed. Then these is separate. These whatever the separated data memory or code memory we used to make in buses allows one instructions to execute while the next instruction is fetch. That is nothing but pre-fetching we used to call it here. This is what at present diagram what you are seeing it here. They are nothing but a single shared bus, one Neumann architecture, IO, CPU, memory. Similarly, have architecture, program memory, a CPU, a data memory. What the descriptions that I gave. There is nothing but what she has a single bus, single common bus for fetching both instructions and data. And here, if we just make out with the hardware architecture, if you consider separate data bus and instruction bus like that, you are having. Coming towards if we differentiate the, hardware with von Neumann, first one if you consider separate buses for instructions and data fetching, then von Neumann concept wise if you consider single shared bus for instructions and data fetch. Then hardware architecture wise if you consider easier to pipeline, so what happens, so high performance can be achieved. Then von Neumann architecture wise, if you consider low performance compared to hardware architecture, then hardware architecture wise, if you consider they are comparatively high cost. Then von Neumann architecture wise, if you consider they are cheaper. Then hardware architecture wise, no memory alignment problems, and one Neumann concept, if you consider, allows self-modifying codes. So since data memory and program memory what are stored physically in different locations, no chance for what for accidental corruption if you are planning it like that. There is a major advantage of program memory if you consider. Similarly, if you consider one Neumann architecture, the data memory and program memory are stored physically in a same chip. Chances of accidental corruption, very important point from whatever that they used to make out here in one Neumann architecture. Then the next to that, ASIC, there is nothing but application specific instruction set processor. So what happens here? Application specific instruction set processor. These are nothing but again processors with architecture and instruction set optimized to what? Optimize it to specific domain. There's application requirements like network processing if you consider, automotive if you consider, then telecom if you consider, media applications if you consider, digital signal processing if you consider, then control application wise if you consider, etc., etc. Then ASICs, they used to what? They used to fill the architectural spectrum between general purpose processors and application specific integrated circuit. So there is nothing but a major the role whatever the ASICs they used to make out with. And the need for an ASICs if you consider arises when the traditional general purpose whatever the processor you are having. Yeah, tell me, madam. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Then some microcontroller wise, if you consider like automotive AVR, USB AVR from Atmel, then a system on chip, if you
Hard
consider
copy for that internship report.
digital signal processors,
Check.
Keep
etc.
getting whole
Examples
semester.
for this
Madam, exactly.
ASICs.
All copy
Then
attended. I
ASICs.
have to upload in sorry.
Then ASICs, if you consider, incorporate processor and on a
Upload.
chip peripherals demanded by application, whatever the
I'll
requirement,
send this.
program and
I'll
data
come
memory you're
again.
having.
Check.
Then next, program logic devices. And if you want to
I'll upload it.
make it, hello,
Give me this call. I'll
Is there
hello.
in a group?
group is there now.
So application specific instructions in processor, if I consider,
Surendra sir, that
microchip
ACT
designed to
activity
perform a
are not
specific or a unique
catch hold at all.
application.
And they are telling they have done, they
Please
don't
indicate
have
to madam
external
once, those who
number,
are
nothing.
interrupting.
My question here is what title they bring up. They are saying
Some waste
household.
management.
I'm getting some
They'll
disturbance.
give their
Hello.
father name, number. Waste
Okay.
management they did for their house, right? They will give their father name and mobile number of father.
Then nobody will verify it.
Okay, I did for my house, ma'am. Then who will be my guide then? My father only, no?
Okay.
I did that. I want all the box to be building on that.
One activity, that too, they are not.
Ask them to do three. They should do three.
They are sleeping, sir. They
They are
are.
running out of time. Final years are
I
running out
know.
of time.
I told them you won't get duty free. Also, they are only spotted.
Then if you consider application
So that I can
specific
make the
instructions
Yeah.
like processor wise. So just a minute, I will call them. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. They are not muted actually.
Hello. What? Okay.
Okay, fine. Application specific instruction set processor, if I just proceed with, uh, as I told, they used to make out application specific instructions for processors with the architecture and instruction set optimized to specific domain application requirement, like as I told, network processing, automotive, telecom, media applications. Apart from that, digital signal processing, then control applications, etc. like that. Then if I proceed further, it's like some microcontrollers like automotive USB, sorry, AVR and USB AVR from Atmel, like that. If you consider system on chip, they used to make out digital signal processors, etc. They are the examples for this for a specific instruction set processor. Then, as if we just make out incorporate a processor on a chip peripherals demanded by what application requirement or as a program data memory if you consider, and few more concept wise if I just make out with this ASIC, they are nothing but what microchip designed to perform a specific or a unique application. It is used as a replacement of a conventional general purpose logic chip, and most of ASICs are what whatever they used to make out with proprietary products as a single chip. ASIC consumes very small area, and in a total system, and thereby helps in designing for a smaller system with high capabilities or as a functionality parts if you just make out with these ASICs. And ASICs can be what can be prefabricated for special applications, or it can be what custom fabricated by using components from a reusable building blocks. So library of components for a particular custom applications we used to make out. Then fabrication of ASICs, if you consider, require non-refundable initial investment. If you consider, as I told, a non-recurring whatever the charges they used to cost, engineering charges for the process, technology, and configuration access, whatever the expenses you are having it there. And what happens if the non-recurring engineering charges they are less or is borne by third party, as application specific integrated circuits are made openly available in the market. possible. And ASIC is what referred as a application specific standard product. ASSP, like that we can just make out. Then the ASSP is marketed to multiple customers, just as a general purpose product at present what we are seeing, but to a smaller number of customers, since it is for specific application. Then some assets what proprietary products. The developers are not interested in revealing the internal details about these assets if we consider. So this is what somewhat more information if we want, we can just give out here. Then similarly, programmable logic device. So logic device, we know what logic device provide specific functions, including if we just make out with the device-to-device interfacing, if we consider, or as data communication, if we consider, signal processing, if we consider, data display, if we consider, timing and control operations wise, if we consider. So almost every other function a system must perform. Then logic device, whatever they used to make out here in this program, logic device. Logic devices, again, they are classified into two broad categories: fixed and programmable, like that. So the circuit is what the circuit in a fixed logic device are permanent. So they perform one function or a set of functions once manufactured. So they cannot be changed. Similarly, alternate to that other thing. So PLDs, if you consider, PLDs offer customers a wide range of logic, whatever according to that range, logic capacity. So features, speed, and voltage characteristics, and these devices can be what? These devices can be reconfigured to perform any number of functions if you consider any number of time. So designers can use inexpensive software tools to quickly develop what he's planning to simulate, like a test. So their logic designs in this PLD based designs they used to make out. And the design can be what? The design can be quickly programmed into a device and immediately tested in a live circuit if you consider. And PLDs, if you consider, are based on a rewritable memory technology. And the device is what? The device is reprogrammable, or is reprogrammed to change the design, like. So two major types of a programmable logic design, if I just consider, first one is FPGA. So the concept wise you are seeing it here. So what is that? FPGA is an IC designed to be configured by designer after manufacturing, and FPGA is a highest amount of logic density they are having, the amount of, or the most features and highest performance wise if you consider. Then logic gate is what? It's a medium to high density ranging from 1K to 500K system gates. And these advanced FPGA devices also offer features such as what? Such as a built-in hardware processors if you consider, as anything but such as IBM's PowerPC. There is nothing but a substantial amount of memory, or as a clock management system, or as a support for many of the latest very fast device-to-device signaling technologies if we consider. So we just make out with the FPGA. So these advanced API devices also offer features such as a built-in hardware processor, as I told, substantial amount of memory with the clock management system, and support for many of latest very fast device-to-device signaling technologies we can tell. So FPGAs are used in a wide variety of applications, ranging from data processing and storage wise to instrumentation, telecommunication, data signal processing, like that. You can just make out with a wide variety of whatever the applications they used to make out there. Then next to this FPGA, there is a CPLED. CPLED is nothing but what we can just tell a complex programmable logic device. There is nothing but a programmable logic device is what? A device with the complexity between PALs and FPGAs and architectural features of whatever both they are having it. And as we know, CPLDs, if you consider complex programmable logic device, if you consider, by contrast, offer much smaller amount of logic, up to about 10,000 gates. Then the CPLEDs offer very predictable timing characteristics and are therefore ideal for critical control applications. And CPLEDs such as a Xilinx full runner, if you consider, Series also requires extremely low amount of power and very inexpensive, and making them ideal for a cost sensitive, battery operated, and portable applications such as mobile phones and digital handle assistance. If you consider, so they play again one more importance. So two major types of programmable logic devices these are. Then coming towards advantages of PLDs. PLDs, if you consider, as we know, PLDs offer a customer much more flexibility during a design cycle and do not require a long lead time forward for prototype and production. The production, whatever the PLDs are, they already on a distributor shelf and ready to shipment. PLEDs do not require customers to pay for a large NRE cost, as I told, so non-recurring engineering costs and purchase, whatever that used to happen. Expensive mass size actually. Then PLEDs allow customers to order just a number of parts required when they need them, allowing them to control inventory. Then PLDs are what? PLDs are reprogrammable even after a piece of equipment is shipped to a customer. The manufacturer able to add new features or as upgrade PLDs as based on product that they are just making it a field by uploading a new programming file. That's it. Then the last one is nothing but what commercial off the shelf component. There is nothing but cards we used to call it as. So these card products are designed in such a way to provide easy integration and interoperability with the existing system component. Typical example of a COTS hardware unit, and if you just consider, they're nothing but remote control toy car. If you consider a remote control toy car control unit, including the RF circuitry part and high performance, high frequency microwave electronics. They used to operate with 2 to 200 gigahertz like that. Then high bandwidth along with whatever analog to digital converters you are having. Then device and components for operations at very high temperature, electro-optic IR imaging arrays we need to call. We used to tell. UV, IR detectors, etc. These are nothing but examples, typical examples of these COTS. Then COTS component in turn contain a general purpose processor, nothing but GPP or application specific instruction set processor, or application specific integrated chip. There is nothing but ASIC, that might be GPP, that might be ASIC, that might be ASIC, that might be ASSP. There is nothing but application specific standard product. Or even that might be a PLD, that is nothing but programmable logic device. So the major advantage of using COTS is that they are really available in the market, and there is no need to design a model yourself and write a firmware. So that's where you are just making whatever the advantage that you want, you are getting it. And everything will be readily supplied by what a COTS manufacturer. So the major problem faced by the end user is that there are no operational and menu. What is the if you just make out with manufacturing standards, standard-wise if you consider, again I will face a few problems here. Then a component in embedded system design is that the manufacturer may withdraw the product or discontinue the production of COTS at any time. This is a major disadvantage of this. So COTS, if you consider, also COTS components, if you consider for your embedded system, is that the manufacturer may withdraw the product or can discontinue the production of COTS. So at any time, in a rapid change in technology, whatever that used to happen today, this problem adversely affect commercial manufacture of embedded system, which makes use of a specific COTS. So these are the things that I thought to cover. So we have just gone ahead with a combination circuit, then building blocks, the flip-flop, then types of flip-flops, registers and counters. If you consider registers and counter parts, just given a brief introduction. Tomorrow you will come to know each and everything. Then microcontroller, microprocessor, in a short manner, so to understand okay what is controller, processor, like that. whether they need peripherals or external hardware. Then risk-based operation, then one human concept, hybrid concepts. If you consider how they used to differentiate, how can we can how we can analyze whether that is risk-based or risk-based like that. Even we need to proceed with hands-on session. So during that time, you will come to know, and whatever the other resource person they are explaining it now, I think that is very helpful. So even if you consider those constraints, how they are just manipulating, also how the technology is changing, and what are the basics at present, what all I'm just covering. So including almost these things and hands-on session and what industry side they are just planning it for, as they are making it for. Almost by considering all these constraints, we can tell that okay, we can attain, also we can just make out whatever goal you are planning it for. So if you are having any questions, you can ask me. These all things are basics.
Any questions, dear faculty members? I don't think we have any questions, sir.
Okay,
So
sir.
we can take a break now for an hour,
Okay,
and
sir.
2 o'clock we can join for the third session.
Okay, sir. Then the next session I will assemble it around at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
After in that session, I just want to cover microcontroller architecture, memory organization, addressing modes, programming in assembly, and embedded system. If you consider, so we'll continue. Continue
Oh,
participants. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. So, dear faculty members, we'll be meeting at 2 o'clock for the third session, the final session for the day. Thank you. We'll be sending you the feedback link. I request everyone to kindly fill the feedback link and send it. Thank you all.